Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with Barcelona-based jazz drummer Jorge Rossy. We caught up with him during mid-April 2020 to talk about what he's been doing during the beginnings of the COVID-19 lockdown. He's been very busy over his career with work on over 80 recordings with renowned musicians like Brad Mehldau, Ethan Iverson, Kevin Hayes, and so many others. He's got a wonderful story. Enjoy.
Well, just a little noisy this very moment because people is applauding. You know, like every day at 8, everybody goes out to the terrace to applaud for the people who works in doctors and nurses, etc. So this is happening now for the next 5 minutes, but it's okay. I can still hear you.
Well, can I hear it? Can you put the phone out there? I'd love to hear it.
Okay, here it is. Let's see. Oh, I'm going to go out. Just open this for a second. Let's see. I don't know if you...
And where exactly are you located?
Can you hear it?
Yeah, where exactly are you located?
Oh, this is it's called Sant Cugat. It's a suburb of Barcelona. But it's pretty urban, you know, so it's like a, apartment building and stuff. I mean...
That's wonderful. Well, thank you for doing that. Hey, so I did talk to someone in Spain last week, and they had said that it seemed like things were getting better. So how's everything going?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically the same process that everywhere else, you know. I mean, it's actually, you know, a lot of people dying. It's terrible. Of course, now we've been confined for over a month, I think. So things are getting better. Of course, we're flattening the curve a little bit. So, but I mean, for me, it's a weird situation because I'm extremely happy because I've been on the road so much, especially in the last 3 months. I barely saw my girlfriend, like, you know, just a couple of days a month. So I got a lot of stuff canceled. But since I'm also teaching in Switzerland in a school, you know, at least I know that I got some money coming in, and my girlfriend also can work online because I'm teaching online now. So that's okay. And then the fact that I don't have to be on the road, I felt that I really kind of needed a holiday at home. So there is one part of me that's getting exactly what I needed. It is terrible that you know, so many people have to die and suffer in order to some people just get like a reasonable break from their mindless running around like crazy. But yeah.
I understand, and I've kind of heard that from a lot of people. So yeah, it's you know, it's playing out in different ways, and it's good that it's a respite for you. So that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you for taking a minute out during this extraordinary time in our human history to talk about jazz and everything that's going on. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's a pleasure for me. Thanks for your interest and in what I'm doing. I think it's great. It's a privilege. Thanks so much.
On. Yeah, my pleasure, man. So talk to me a little bit about what's been going on with you as far as any CDs that are on the horizon or any creativity during this quarantine time.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, in the last few years, I've been recording a lot. I mean, so... I don't even know where to start. Let's see, there is like the last things that came out in the last month, that some of them I recorded a while ago, you know, but one is like I have this quartet with piano player Mike Kennan. I don't know, you know him. He's a great piano player from New York that we met in '89, so we go way back. And we had these 4 CDs together where I'm playing vibes and he's playing piano. And Potter Smith, this great bass player from LA, he's playing bass, and Jimmy Wonworth on drums. So it's like really straight ahead, like really, you know. And so we just like really playing, you know. These guys are beboppers. Like Potter is 77, I think, and Jimmy is 82. You know, but he played with KD and with Coltrane actually. At the 5 spot, you know, and with lots of people. So anyway, it's like a really, really swinging, the real deal rhythm section. So we did, our first CD was all Gershwin music. The second was all Harold Arlen. The third one was Bud Powell. And this fourth one is called Tad and Thad. So it's Tad Dameron and Thad Jones. So this is one of the things, you know. Another thing that just came out is like a trio with Enrico Pieranunzi on piano and Jasper Sonsen on bass and me on drums. And let's see, I don't even remember what what kinds of thing I've been doing. But I know that I have a couple more. Oh yeah, there is a quartet that I did with some younger guys. Yeah, but I mean it's a long story. I don't want to bore you. But anyway, basically recording a lot, and doing a lot of stuff. But my main projects, I guess, one is my quintet. That I was on tour in January with Mark Turner and Billy Hart, Doug Weiss, and this guitar player from Barcelona called Jaume Llombart. That's my quintet. It's called JRVQ, Jorge Rossy Vibes Quintet, where it's basically playing my original music and with these guys. I'm actually in the CDs that I have is actually Al Foster on drums, but now this tour, Joey Barron did some gigs and Billy Hart did the rest, and I got to play also in trio with him. So maybe, that's my main project, my quintet, But then also on drums, I've been playing sometimes in trio. Yeah, that's the thing. That's something we're going to record. In the idea, if these circumstances allow, but the idea was to record in November with Ethan Iverson and Joe Sanders on bass. We did a couple of tours already, and then we were thinking of recording. So I guess that's another thing, another project. But yeah, basically doing a lot of different stuff, Some with more well-known musicians, and some with not so well-known. But I also enjoy a lot playing with them, and so just keeping busy, keeping a little too busy actually. So it's actually nice to take this break.
Yeah, sounds like it. So you've had quite a past in the world of jazz. Talk to me a little bit about your beginnings, where you were born and raised, and how jazz became your life.
Yeah, well, I was born and raised in Barcelona, in the city. And, well, my father is kind of like a musician who plays by ear. My grandfather also played, so I guess it's in the family a little bit. And then my older sister, she was a classical piano student at the time. She was the first one. And also I have an older brother who played bass. So I started with drums when I was 12, basically. And after that, at 16, I kind of fall in love with the trumpet. I played a little vibes at the time, but I quit vibes because I really felt that I felt this calling for the trumpet. And it was much more expressive, that the vibes, and much more easy to take around instead of carrying shit like with the drums, So I was playing trumpet for 10 years. That's how I made it to the States. I got a scholarship from Berkeley as a trumpet player in '89. Fast forward, anyway, when I was in Spain, I started working a lot as a drummer, so I play with a lot of local bands here, and also sometimes with some great musicians came to town. I would get to play with them. I did like a little tour with Kenny Wheeler. I did a couple of gigs with Woody Shaw, also with Sal Nistico or Dave Schnitter. So, or sometimes, I was in the 80s in Spain. There weren't that many great rhythm sections in Barcelona. So I got fortunate to play with some of these guys, once in a while, but that always felt like it was a very, very fast kind of thing, get to play something, a couple of days with Woody Shaw, of course, was amazing, but, I didn't, it wasn't like I wouldn't really develop any deep musical relationships with any of these musicians, it was kind of like one-nighters. So, and I also had this insecurity. I was thinking, well, I know I'm getting gigs because in Spain we are very few people. I don't know if I'm at a level that I could actually be in the scene if I went to New York or something. So I had this idea of going to the States. So finally I went in '89 when I was 24 years old with a scholarship to Berkeley as a trumpet player. But what happened in Berkeley is that I met all these guys from my generation. Most of them were a few years younger than me. No, I'm talking about Chris Cheek, Seamus Blake, Mark Turner, Joshua Redman, Jeff Kisser, Antonio Hart, Cor Rosenwinkel, all these guys. No, and the thing is that all of them were very sweet and very supportive of my trumpet playing. They said, "Oh man, you sound so good. I can tell you like KD, but are you available to play drums for a session?" So basically, they needed a drummer, and I just fall in love with the music of all these guys, and I felt that okay, if I want to play with these guys. So if they need a drummer, I guess drums it is. So the trumpet kind of died out. So I really focused on the drums, That was in Boston in '89, and in '90, or right in January of '91, actually I moved to New York. And then there I met Brad Mehldau too, and other musicians there, Ethan Iverson, who was there, and Reed Anderson. So yeah, well, basically I met all these guys during that time, in '89, '90, and basically the rest of my life I've been playing with them a lot, and then other things happen, but that's basically. On a nutshell is this, And also what was interesting is that I provided for a lot of these guys the opportunity of recording in Spain because they weren't well known at the time, And then I met this guy from Jordi Pujol from Fresh Sound Records, and we just did this first record with Brad Mehldau and my brother, and that was a total hit, of course. And so he asked me if I knew other guys in New York who were good players. I said, sure I do. So then it happened that I just put a lot of guys in contact with Fresh Sound, and a lot of them, when I did that, they actually asked me to play drums in the record. So that was great for me too, because then I built all this catalog as assignment, playing on the debut CD of Cor Rosenwinkel or Ethan Iverson, Mark Turner, although that was with Chris Cross, but I got to play in the first, in a lot of the first CDs of a lot of very important musicians of my generation, which was a fortunate position, and we did have that was the difference, as opposed to my thing in Spain with all these big stars that I played from another generation. These guys were my generation. We did have a deep musical connection, so that's why it made sense, that's why whenever they had a chance to record, it just felt natural they wanted to record with me, because it's not that I gave them a record deal, it's that we were playing together in regular basis. So that's basically the case, So yeah, so that's basically it. And then the rest is that then Brad's career really took off, and I guess most people knows me as, the drummer from Brad Mehldau's first trio, and that was wonderful, and he's great, and we're still very good friends and talking Skype and everything. But the truth is that, yeah, I had, a great musical relationship with Brad, but also with Kurt, also with Mark and Joshua and Chris and Seamus and, a lot of other guys. And, yep, I guess. And then what happened is that when I left Brad's band, at that point, even before that, 5 years before, when I turned 35, I really fall in love with the piano. I always liked it, but at that point, I had totally quit trumpet, and so I really focused on piano for about 10 years. And then after that, what has happened in the last 8 years is that the bass has kind of emerged as my main instrument, besides drums, Drums are always there, but in terms of having a passion for something, has been these different things. 10 years in the trumpet, 10 on the piano, it seems to be the number, and now has been 7 or 8 years really focusing on bass. So that's a little bit the whole story, I guess. And yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
What was the first live jazz show you saw that made you think that's what you wanted to do with your life?
Oh, yeah. I remember the moment very clearly. It was when I was 14 years old in 79, and in the summer of 79, seeing Weather Report, that there is this record called 830, that, is the tour that they did. The band at that moment was with Jaco and Peter Erskine, just quartet, And I remember the moment I saw that, I felt that exactly. It's like, what these guys are doing, this is what I would like to do the rest of my life. I don't know if I will get ever to such a level as these guys are, but I don't care. Whatever level I can do it, this is the way, I remember that. That was like an amazing feeling. I have the feeling that I would have ended up being a musician anyway, but this is how it happened, In that moment, seeing that concert, I knew that there wasn't anything else that I wanted to do except that. So that's why in some ways it was really amazing for me. It was kind of felt like full circle, when in 2012, I got the call to sub for Brian Blade in a tour with Wayne's quartet, in July. So those 10 days for me was it was 16 days, but 10 concerts, It was like a truly amazing moment for me too, to be playing with Wayne. Well, so, Danilo I already knew because he's actually another of the musicians who I connected when I was in Berkeley. And I actually went to Panama with him, and that was another story, actually. I arrived the day of the invasion, the day before, so
wow.
We were talking. Yeah, that was a kind of a rude political awakening for me. But anyway, that's another story. So I knew Danilo in the band, I've never played with John before, and I know Brian too, and I love him. He's an amazing drummer and beautiful human being too, but for me, playing with Wayne was just surreal. And very scary too, but at the same time, very inspiring. So yeah, I feel that I've been just very privileged to have that experience. So yeah, that's
wonderful.
All. And yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about what do you like the best about being a professional musician?
What I like about?
Yeah, what's the best part of
being?
What do you like best about being a musician?
It's a great question. Well, it's funny because in my case, as I said, at 14, I realized that first I had this passion to play. Well, first I think that music is very healing, and there is so many aspects, For me, I think that you get to know who you are by music, by playing, because you have also, when you have to play on the stage, you have to face your fears, and you have to find what it is that you can actually defend on the stage, because all these questions in a more or less conscious level keep happening, to you. Why are you on a stage? Why do you have to say, So I think for me it's like a spiritual thing, and also just the thing of being alone. When you're alone, it's kind of soul research, to find what are you attracted to, or just the process of learning, the humility of seeing how much you have to learn every time you listen to a musician that you admire, and so all these things I think is like a great spiritual learning. First, with you yourself and the instrument, or you yourself and the music that you would like to play. Then also confronting yourself with the audience and the fact of having to go on stage and defend something, and that you can honestly think that you're not a poser, but you actually believe in this music and you can do it. Those things are for me spiritually powerful, and very rewarding too, In the other hand, if you are able to confront them. So I think that being a musician, it just pushes you to be in a certain lifestyle, also a community. The thing that as a musician, and even more, I would say, as a jazz musician, you are in a team. So you need to be a team player. So you know that you have to leave your ego behind, because you have to, for the good, or you have to find something that's for the common good. If you want to be in the spotlight or you want to shine, it's like that's probably going to get in the way of the music. You have to have a bigger picture. It's not about individual people shining. It's about the song, You have to to put yourself in the line and to work with everybody else for the success of the song, understand. So that's, I think, a great lesson, on maturity and on team working and confronting your own insecurity or your own ego. So that's another aspect. I guess there are many more, but and then that's the other thing. Ultimately, now that I'm a little older, and also my girlfriend is she's a sociologist, and I'm more aware also of the responsibility of what music can do in order to make the world a better place. That sometimes one thinks, especially when you see that jazz is so minority, so many times you play for very small audiences in tiny places, half full. So those days are rough, But the truth is that I think that we still have a big responsibility, because when I remember like that, when I saw that concert of Weather Report, it just totally changed my life. And I think that as jazz musicians, we can prove day after day or night after night on stage, we prove that a team can succeed in a way of organizing themselves where everybody is also an individual, takes responsibility. There is no hierarchy. In that sense, it's very different from a symphony where there is a conductor, telling everybody what to do and how to do it. Here in jazz, it's more like chamber music, but even more. We're all improvising together. We're all functioning as a team, and at the same time, we're all individuals with their own personality, telling their own story in their own terms. So just to prove that all that can be achieved at the same time, I think it's a great example of democracy, I guess, and responsibility,
Absolutely. So, we're in a very unique time with COVID-19 and being under quarantine. And my question to you is, we're going to get to a point where we get back to live music. And I want to know from you, what do you hope both the musician and the audience member realizes from this time that makes us wiser and stronger when we come back?
Yeah, very good question too, very relevant. Yeah, well, for musicians, I find with my students that I have to teach online is that I tell them, it's like, look, it's terrible. We love to play with each other. Now we can't, even in the lessons where we play by turns. So, so I'm saying the lesson for all of us, we have to learn how to play solo, So, just to play alone. And sometimes we still can can imagine that we're playing with a band, So I can still practice comping patterns or just play songs, but not play solo doesn't mean that I'm just playing a solo. It's like, no, I can be just playing the structure of the tune and just as if I was comping for somebody. So, we have to, we can work on many things. Also, I find that now I have much more time to reconnect with music by listening, listening to the old masters, or also even listening to many recordings that I've done from gigs on the road or that I haven't had time to really check them out. So I can listen a lot of my own playing and reflect on that, and also listen to a lot of the musicians I love, and I usually don't have that much time. But also, of course, I have the feeling that this is going to be a long process. I think it's going to take a long time till we actually feel safe enough, till people is going to feel comfortable getting in a small cramped club, having people very close to you. And I think that's going to take probably a couple of years, I think, till we have a vaccine or something. But of course, what's going to happen with that is that I think I'm optimist. I think it's going to be like a renaissance. People is going to realize that they've missed so much live music, and I think there is going to be such a sense of happiness once we can do it, even as I'm saying, probably maybe 2 years from now. But then I think people is going to be very happy, and I think it's going to be a lot of work and a lot of enjoyment on doing it. So that's basically what I see, And
my final question to you is this. Everyone has a version of you or a perception, your family, your friends, your fans, but if you're living your life, who do you think you are?
Oh, shit, I don't know. I'm just somebody who's I'm a hedonist, I guess. I really believe that the only meaning of life that I can find is just to enjoy it. But also, I feel that I cannot enjoy my life unless I can share the enjoyment with the people who surround me. So I cannot be happy if my success depends on on pushing other people down, and to be the best or that competitive. I just don't believe in that because that's not how music works. So I believe that for me the most important thing is to be happy, that I'm happy. But the only way for me to be happy is making happy the people that I have around me too, So it's just basically just that, no? And I think that's something very interesting that I think can transform the world right now, no? Like we're seeing all this, that day after day, these doctors or even people who, cashiers in the grocery stores are putting their life on the line to keep offering. I know that's the same thing that everybody's saying, but it's true, it's meaningful, and it's beautiful that everybody can see it, like putting your life on the line, really, like a soldier going in front, because people is dying, doctors are dying every day, and sometimes for a shitty salary, Meanwhile, in the other side, you have, people who's like, selling the masks that were 70 cents, selling them at, $4 or $14. Here in Spain, some people is selling masks for 19 euros, So, yeah, you see human nature there, There is greed, there is a lot of greed, but there is also a lot of non-greed, so, and the opposite. So, yeah, I think this is revealing. And I just, I'm somebody who can see these things, and I think we all can see them, But so I think that the great thing of this terrible situation is that it's going to show that, that the fact that our society or our economy is based on greed, is supposed to be greed is the motor of the neoliberal capitalist society. Now realize that that's there and it's powerful. It's true. A lot of people is very greedy to the point of being criminal. And at the same time, you see a lot of people who is not greedy at all, who finds other motives to work very, very hard and to even put their life on the line. So maybe this could help, opening up the eyes of a lot of people that, maybe there are other ways of function that would be probably more efficient, not only more just, but more efficient, and could help the humanity to survive from the doomsday that seems to be not with climate change. I'm somebody who believes that climate change is not a hoax. Unfortunately, it would be wonderful if it was more, but it's not. At least I tend to believe more in scientists than in politicians. So, and with scientists, it seems that the consensus is pretty strong. So,
well, hey, thank you for taking the time out today to be raw and honest and open up about this unique world we're in, not only with jazz but in our whole planet. So, I really appreciate it, and stay safe and good luck with everything.
Thanks so much, man. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for listening and tuning into another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest cats in Spain, New York City, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks to Jorge for his time, music, and stories. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino in the iTunes Store. Visit Neon Jazz at youtube.com, and for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.